Hello, welcome replay viewers, welcome live viewers. Hi Kirsten, I am still spending so much time on your Catch account, Kirsten, learning all about high school. It's good to see you. Yeah, I am a total Kirsten stalker right now. I think the fear of high school is starting to creep in, and I don't even have a high schooler next year, so I'm going to have to calm down. Oh my goodness, Kristen Rendell, what are you doing on here? That's my neighbor. I was so sad about your Fitbit, Heather. I feel your pain. It's horrible when, like, the Fitbit's not on, so... Hi, Deshelle. Hello, everyone. Oh, Abby is with you. Hi, Abby. I know, that is sad. Okay, I feel like I'm looking in a weird direction. I didn't test the lighting or anything before I did this. Let me turn up the lights. We'll see. It's hard with it behind. Oh, I'm sorry, Abby. There are difficult things about high school for sure. Yeah, I didn't start a Fitbit challenge. I'm actually in one with my mom and some of her friends. It's funny. I'm always losing that one. My mother, like, totally kicks my butt on Fitbit. She's retired and lives in Florida, and she just walks all the time with anyone who will walk with her. So my uncle's visiting right now, and she lives like 2 doors down from a lake, and it's 0.7 miles around. And so she's just like, let's go walk the lake. Let's go walk the lake. So I'm in that challenge, but I'm losing because even 10,000 steps a day doesn't touch where my mother and some of my other homeschool mom friends go. So there's a challenge. We'll have to start another one. Maybe we'll do a daily one tomorrow, Deshelle, and just do Friday and try to end on a good note. All right, so introductions. In case you're new here, I'm Mary, and you can find me on all social media outlets at Not Before 7. This is my actual blog address, and hopefully I will actually get this on the blog later this week so you can find all the information about having a poetry tea time with Marilyn Singer. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So poetry tea time, I have that on a card now has its own website. So the information I used today about the poet Marilyn Singer came from this new website, poetryteatime.com. And if you haven't checked it out, you can peek on there. There's all sorts of resources. So I'm going to show you what our family did this morning to set up this tea time and have a little theme with a particular author. So I was actually showing, I'm having a little bit of my tea right now. And these are all the books that we had at tea time this morning. And I'm going to show you, when you go to poetryteatime.com, when you are on the home page, it looks like this, about Poetry Tea Time, and you can learn all sorts of things here. But in Poetry Corner, there are specific, like, blog type articles. And if you scroll down to the fourth one down right now, you will see a poet interview with Marilyn Singer. So I went ahead and a few weeks ago, I ordered every book of poetry and any other book that our library had by Marilyn Singer. And I got them into the house. On Instagram, what I did is last night, I took all the books and I sat them on the kitchen table, open like this. So they were sitting there waiting like that when the kids came downstairs. So when they came downstairs in the morning, there were like 8 poetry books all over the kitchen table. And of course, the boys were like, what are these? I said, well, these are poetry books, and they're all by the same author. So for our poetry tea time today, which, yes, we were doing on Thursday, I want you to have perused one of these books and pick one of the poems you would like to share with us. And so they did kind of look through it, but then they went off and did their morning stuff, and they came back to it when they were eating breakfast and looked through the books. And what I did while we were eating breakfast is on the web page that I just showed you, if you scroll down, there's actually an interview with Marilyn Singer. So I read that out loud to the kids. Julie asked her about 5 questions on there, and I just read her answers. And the last one, of course, was what's your number 1 advice to kids who want to write poetry? And it was to play with words and images and have fun. And I thought that was great advice for the kids to hear. So after we read the interview, I will tell you, if you scroll down enough. So after you've read the interview, if you go down, there's actually a podcast interview with Marilyn Singer right here. It's about 40 minutes long of my kids this morning. So I've been listening to it just for my own information that I can share with them. And the quality of it, it kind of cuts in and out on this one because they were at the library. But it has some good information, and it's always fun to hear the poet's voice. So even if the kids just listen to a little clip, like if you find a favorite clip in there, it would be worth having at your poetry tea time. But I want to tell you a little bit about the books so that you can look up some of these and do a poetry tea time. And then I'll tell you the activity that we did at the end of our poetry tea time, which we don't always do. So this was just something that we were kind of inspired to do after today. So there's a lot of poetry that is nature oriented. Thank you. This one, Fireflies at Midnight, we really enjoyed. I'm going to show you because I really like the illustrations in here. So like this is the one for monarch butterflies. So it was really great illustrations in here. And here is the poem. So we read through a bunch of her poems. Picking all sorts of different animals. I'm going to show you the other. Oh, I loved this one too. This one isn't animals, sorry. The other one that's animals. This is, I think, actually her first poetry book. It was called Turtles in July. And I think this is the first collection of poetry she published. And you can tell it's older looking at the illustrations, but it is also beautiful. And it was all nature. Barn owl, deer mouse. So these are great too if you do nature study to find some animals that maybe you could peruse ahead of time and talk about ones that are specific to the season you're in or maybe pets you have in the house. Yeah, this one's beautiful. This one almost looks kind of watercolor. It's Jerry Pinkney who does the illustrations in this one, and they're really pretty too. So these were 2. Turtles in July and Fireflies at Midnight are 2 of her nature books, though there's another one we haven't even, there were so many, we didn't even get to look at them all. And there's How to Cross a Pond. This one it's very pretty. It's all monochromatic drawings, and it's all poems about water, which really would be fantastic if you are doing water in science or the water cycle. Let me hold that one up for you. How to Cross a Pond, poems about water. And this would be a fantastic one if you're studying the water cycle with your kids and want to include some poetry in your science. Because all of these are about water and they're monochromatic illustrations. So that one's called Babbling Brook. This one is called How to Cross a Pond. So I will probably do something with water and pull that one out. What was really fun is that my 6-year-old, who is a new reader, he is, learning to read. He's getting better at it. And Poetry Tea Time gives him a nice chance to practice reading out loud. And he doesn't always want to do it. But I grabbed this one and said, Dan, why don't you look through here and see if you can find one. And this is called A Stick is an Excellent Thing. And it's all poems of outdoor play. So this one was really fun. I'm going to hold it up a second because I know I saw some cameras going. I love this teacup. Okay. A Stick is an Excellent Thing. And he read us several. He actually read us the poem Jax. So these were simple enough for a new reader. There were a few words he had trouble. Thanks. I love that teacup. It's new. There were a few words that he had trouble pronouncing, but I'll show you. He liked this one that he could read. It wasn't too bad.
I'll get it.
Thanks. Hi, Lena. So this was great for if you have an early reader. These poems written by Marilyn Singer also were, hi Linda, were great. So I recommend that to have at the table. Here's another one that we didn't quite get to. Thank you. You can just lay it right there. This one is called Creature Carnival. And all of these poems are about creatures. Kind of made up. So, the Frog Prince, the Phoenix, the Dragon, and these have really funny illustrations. I could see this one really appealing to my boys. Gris Grimley did the illustrations. That seems like a very fitting name for the types of illustrations going on in here. So this one looks very goofy, very fun for boys. Yeah, I have a feeling I will send this one to bed tonight with my 9-year-old. He would like this one a lot. No problem. See you later, Marie. All right, Creature Carnival. So that one's another one. And then this one's kind of great for history, but Marilyn Singer also has Rutherford B. Who is he? These are all poems about the presidents. So if you're doing history at any time period, and if you've gotten to the U.S. having presidents, so if you're at least into the 1800s, basically, you can look up the presidents. Here's one with John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. And this is just a whole other different genre of her poems, which is really great that you can kind of get to know one specific poet and have such a variety of books to pull from. So we've looked at science, we've got history, Rutherford B. Who was he? Poems about our presidents. This is another one we didn't even get to today because I'm about to show you the two that we spent most time. And Marilyn Singer talks about this in her interview and on her podcast, but what she's really well known for are these reverso poems. Oh, an anti-poetry child loves the presidents. That's going to be a great book for you because they're silly and they're funny and they rhyme and the illustrations are funny. Some of them are conversations like this between Zachary Taylor and Fillmore here. So that's going to be a perfect one. Okay. Let me get to the reverso poems. I don't know if you've seen these. These are two, Mirror, Mirror, and Follow, Follow. And there's actually another one in this house. It must be up in Trisha's room, huh, David? I think she took one to bed last night. There's actually 3 of these reverso poems. These are fascinating. And then I'm going to show you the ones that we wrote. These take a fairy tale story in this one. And it takes the lines of the fairy tale story and it does the same lines in reverse and it changes the story. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to read Rapunzel. No wonder she felt snippy, sweeping the floor. It took forever to manage. All that pale, tangled, dangling hair, cut off, shut up in the tower. Who was that strange girl with the weird name? You know, someone said her mother was a witch. It figures. Now we're going to take those exact lines and read them in reverse. It figures. Someone said her mother was a witch. You know, that strange girl with the weird name who was shut up in the tower, cut off, all that pale, tangled, dangling hair. It took forever to manage sweeping the floor. No wonder she felt snippy. So it makes sense. That one didn't actually change the story. Some of them it actually changes the story, but they are told in complete reverse and they are all based on fairy tale characters. So here's like Rapunzel, and she talks about this one either in the written interview on the Poetry Tea Time website or in the podcast. And she explains, it's on the interview actually, because she tells the first reverso poem she ever wrote was about a cat and it was very short. So what we did, David, will you hand me that red? No. I'm going to grab our free write folders. You're welcome. Is I asked everyone after our time reading all of Marilyn Singer's, and we had such a fun time that morning, I said, does everyone want to try writing a poem? And not everyone did, but some of them did, and everyone wanted to try to write a reverso poem. And I have to tell you, it's not easy. It's very hard. So I'm going to read you what they came up with. All right, so my 9-year-old you can see, I mean, it's really hard, all the scratch outs, but it was a really fun thing to try in terms of wordplay. But in the end, he came up with have fun rip sticking. And the reverse is rip sticking, have fun. So he was playing with some other things, but that was the one he came up with in the end. Now my 11-year-old daughter, you can see this takes a lot of work. Yeah, genius. Hers is pretty good. She got a little longer. It says, no, I will never. Will I go back? It's over. I'm safe. And then in the reverse, it says, I'm safe? It's over? Will I go back? Never. No, I will. So she actually got the meaning to reverse. So in the first one, she's convincing herself that she won't go back and she's safe and it's over. And in the reverse, she actually asks it as questions. She put in the punctuation, even though she didn't write it in reverse. I know it. But she actually decides to go back. So this one's pretty brilliant. I might encourage her to write that up and actually mail that to Marilyn Singer, because I think that would be really fun. And maybe to send it to Julie at Brave Writer. So yeah, it is difficult. In fact, I'm going to read you mine, because I did it too. Oh wait, I'll read you my 6-year-old's first. So my 6-year-old had me write, because first he just wrote a poem and he wanted to write by himself. So he wrote Daniel Loves Trees. That was his poem. And there he is. I'm not sure if he's throwing up on the tree or kissing the tree, but there he is. Daniel Loves Trees. But then he wanted to be able to dictate a poem, because he said, I could only use the words I knew how to write. So I said, why don't you go ahead and let me write? So here is his reverso poem. May's coming, I'm waiting. I'm waiting, May's coming. So I thought that was cute too. They all got the idea, and it's so fun to play with. All right, here is my reverso poem. So I was kind of trying to write out an idea and it wasn't working, and you can see, I mean, it takes a lot. So this was Jekyll and Hyde Come to Tea. So the first one says, poetry, while reading, we sip tea, never will we stop. And then the reverso is, we stop, never will we sip tea while reading poetry. So that was really fun. We all had a good time with it. And it's an excellent activity for just wordplay and thinking. Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde. And then that was great, because my kids and I had a great discussion over who was Jekyll and Hyde. All right. That was really everything I got on to share with you guys today. Definitely check out poetryteatime.com. And there's all sorts of good ideas in there, and there's little poetry activities. So we might actually pull one for tomorrow. We are heading out for a special breakfast, and we might do a little poetry activity there. It's such great writing, and I think it's less intimidating sometimes for kids. But I just wanted to share with you an author that had such a great variety of poetry books, and I thought it was really worth checking out. All right. That's everything. Glad you guys tuned in. Thanks. And I'm going to keep trying to do Periscope. I'm trying to do Facebook Live, but I don't have that option yet in my profile or status. So I am working on that. But for now, I will stick with Periscope. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and have some fun with Marilyn Singer next week. Don't rush it. Use the weekend to get your library books and kind of plan it out, and then have some fun with it. All right. Goodbye. And Kirsten, I'll be seeing you later tonight, even though you won't be seeing me. All right. If you guys aren't following Mary Kerr, MD, who just wrote yes, exclamation mark. She has a high schooler, Olivia, and on her catch page, she has done some fantastic scopes with Olivia about high school. So I'm watching the one right now. I'm finishing up the Help for High School, where she explains how that works. So definitely hit her name and follow her if you're not. All right, guys. I will see you later this week.